So remember that first HELOC video I made for you guys where I basically showed you how I got access to almost $200,000 of my home equity through a home equity line of credit? Well, that was almost 2 years ago now, and a lot has changed, and it may be time for an upgrade. How? Let's get into it. What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. If you didn't already know, my name is Jay Costa. I'm a real estate investor, agent, and builder here in Northern New Jersey. And if you get value out of this video, please hit that like button down below and also consider subscribing because we are building a tight-knit community here of like-minded individuals looking to build wealth in real estate, more specifically using a home equity line of credit or a HELOC. And in this video, I'm gonna go over with you how you can apply for a credit increase on your already existing home equity line of credit. How much more they will give you, will it cost you anything out of pocket, what the pros and the cons are, if I'm gonna do it, as well as if you should do it and how you can decide whether or not it's the right move for you in your own situation. This all started when I got a letter, like a pretty simple looking letter from my lender about my HELOC in the mail the other day. It basically told me that I was eligible for a credit line increase of some sort. I figured I'd give them a call and see what they had to offer. Now, as always, guys, as I say in all of my videos, HELOC rules and guidelines are very lender specific. So make sure you ask as many questions as possible to your own lender to know exactly what you're signing up for and what they can offer you. But hopefully my experience with my lender will help you figure out what's the best way to get the best possible HELOC product and situation for you. First, here are the general figures that I'm kind of working with. That way you know what they offered me or maybe why they offered it to me, as well as what they may offer to you using that as a guideline. I currently owe about $551,000 on my first mortgage on my home, and an additional $98,000 or so on my HELOC, which is a second lien HELOC. This second lien HELOC, as I've discussed in previous videos, has a credit line of $172,400. And I'm currently actually right now paying down that HELOC. I did have it maxed out only a couple months ago, and as of right now, I have it down to about $98,000. If you want to learn more about why I decided to start paying down my HELOC, I made a video about it previously. I'll put a link in the description box down below, as well as up in the corner right now. So next, the lender asked me what I wanted, how much I wanted from to increase my HELOC. I basically told them I didn't know and what's the most I could possibly qualify for given all of my numbers. So the lender asked how much I think my home is worth. Now, when I originally got it appraised for my first HELOC application, a certified appraiser appraised it at about $870,000. Now, that was almost 2 years ago, and the market has been up since then as well. And I basically just went on like Zillow and a couple other things while I was on the phone with the lender. They used the estimated value on Zillow as a ballpark number, and it's showing as of right now $954,000, which sounds about right. The lender then asked me what my current FICO score was. So I basically went onto Credit Karma and told them credit score was shown at about 780. Based on these numbers, these ballpark numbers, the lender said that I could qualify for an additional $176,954 on my line of credit. This would bring my total HELOC credit amount to almost $350,000. This would be doubling my access to current capital and the equity of my home, which would greatly help me in liquidity, in real estate investing, among other things. But there has to be a catch, right? So I asked more questions. Does the interest rate go up? Now, I asked what the margin rate would be if I decided to increase my credit limit on my HELOC. Now, originally, the lender told me that I would have to pay a margin of 1.84%. So the margin is what's on top of the prime rate. So if the prime rate is at 8.5%, then you would have to pay 8.5% plus that margin. That would be your interest rate or your APR on your HELOC. And that's actually a decent amount more than the 1.04% that I currently pay. But once I told them my credit score of about 780, they said with that strong credit score, I would only have to pay 0.99%. So let's round it up to 1%. So I'd have to pay 1% margin over the prime rate. This is actually pretty close, but slightly lower than what I pay now. Now, this shows me two things. First, HELOC approvals are very credit worthiness based. And two, some of these rates and fees and things like that are very negotiable with your lender. So make sure you ask as many questions, as many hypothetical questions to the lender as possible. Things like, if I paid off X, what would my interest rate be? Or things like, if I lowered the limit, what would my interest rate be? Anything to get that interest rate down while getting as much access to equity as possible is always a good thing. And asking more questions can and will get you a better deal on your HELOC. Lastly, I asked them if I had to pay anything out of pocket in order to increase my credit line on my HELOC. As I've discussed in previous videos, each lender is different with everything with HELOCs, and more specifically with fees and closing costs. But my lender, M&T Bank, actually had zero closing costs when I first got it, and that was one of the main reasons that I decided to go with them over other lenders at the time. And they assured me that this time is basically the exact same. I would have to pay absolutely nothing out of pocket. I don't have to pay any annual fees, and I don't have to pay for any sort of appraisal. So given all this, I said, okay, sign me up. How do we do it? And the process goes like this. The first step would basically be filling out a brand new HELOC application. It's like you're applying for a new HELOC, obtaining that HELOC, and using the new HELOC to pay off the old one. So the lender's going to need a full application filled out, along with bank statements, income verification, credit pulls, etc., etc. Once all those check out, the lender will then send a certified appraiser to your home to reappraise your house, just like the first time. This is the appraised value that the lender will base everything off of. So the figures that we were going over before were really just ballpark numbers. And after the appraisal may come in a little bit short or a little bit more than you thought it would be. So it's just really part of the process. You don't know exactly what it's going to come back to until they do this. So what are the pros as well as the cons of raising the limit on your HELOC? Well, the pros are fairly obvious. In my situation, I would get access to basically double what I have access to now, all while paying a slightly lower interest rate or absolutely $0 out of pocket. But here are the cons, at least in my situation with my lender. First, I would be locked into this line of credit for another 3 years from when I sign up for this credit increase. When I originally applied for my first home equity line of credit, I did agree to being locked in for 3 years. Now, it's almost been 2 years already, and I've had no reason to close out the line. But if you close out the line for any reason with my lender within the first 3 years, you will have to pay out of pocket, I think it was like a $300 or $400 penalty fee. This also includes refinancing the home as well as selling the home. So anything that would close out and pay off that second lien on the property, you'd be responsible to pay that early termination fee. Second, I do have to reapply using new income statements and credit worthiness. Now, this could be an issue if you're someone like me who's self-employed and your income kind of fluctuates year to year. And frankly, it's just a pain in the butt sometimes to get all this stuff together and give to the lender. So that is something to consider. So will I do it? Will I apply for this credit line increase on my HELOC? Honestly, I probably will. The pros too far outweigh the cons given everything I just said to you guys. And I think you would agree. If you agree or disagree, drop a comment in the comment section down below and let me know why. And what you would do if you were in my shoes. But before I sign up with this same lender, I'm actually gonna start shopping around to other HELOC lenders to see what they have to offer someone who's in my situation. I have a feeling that since I'm looking to increase my credit line, other lenders, HELOC lenders, may be willing to do a couple things to sweeten the pot a little bit for me. You never know. I don't know. I'll let you know in the next video for sure. Now, I did just recently start a pretty strong relationship with a more local regional bank here that I obtained a construction loan to start building a new construction duplex project. I did make a video on that, on how I got a construction loan and how it worked. I'll put a link in the description box down below as well as up in the corner. So should you do it? If you already have a HELOC and you think that you can get more, should you apply for a credit line increase on that HELOC? Since the pros seem to so far outweigh the cons, it seems like a no-brainer. But I don't think it's for everybody, and here's why. It really depends on what you use your HELOC for. If you're a real estate investor, or I guess an investor in general, you probably do want to do it because, especially if you're doubling it like me, but if you're an investor, the more access to capital and equity you have, the better. But if you're not a real estate investor and you really only use your HELOC in order to use it for emergency situations, or you originally got it to consolidate consumer and credit card debt, then honestly, I probably would not recommend that you have an increase in your home equity line of credit, even if you think that you can get it. Because the access to more equity in your home, if you don't need it, will only be a negative unless you invest with it. That is it for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. That's my take. Let me know in the comment section if you agree with me or disagree with me. What would you do if you were in my shoes? And do you have any experience increasing your home equity line of credit limit? Drop a comment in the comment section down below. And if you have any questions about HELOCs, also let me know in the comment section down below. Would love to talk to you guys, and I will see you next time.